Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of PhysioTV. I am Dr. Gargi, resident of Sancheti Institute for Orthopaedics and Rehabilitation College of Physiotherapy. Today I am going to talk about basics of ECG. Okay, so when we're talking about the basics of ECG, we'll be understanding the waveforms of ECG, the graphs and leads, and how to report an ECG. So what is an ECG? It is the recording of the electrical activity of the heart on a graph paper or the graphical representation of electrical activity of the heart. Each event has a distinctive waveform, and studying the waveforms can lead to understanding about the patient's cardiac pathophysiology. So in the old times, patients' ECG used to be recorded by placing the arms in a saline solution, and then the electrical activity would be recorded. But now we have more better methods for it. But when are we doing an ECG? So an ECG should be recorded whenever a patient has chest pain, palpitations, breathlessness, or dizziness, or if the patient has had an episode of syncope, that is blackout, or an unexplained fall. So in addition, a patient with stroke or transient ischemic attack must also have an ECG so that to understand if there was an irregular heart rhythm or not. So we have to correlate the patient's symptoms and physical signs to guide the interpretation of the ECG. So this is your normal conduction. From the SA node, we have to the impulse is conducted to the AV node, then to the bundle of His, then to the bundle branches, and then to the Purkinje fibers. So first, there is going to be SA node. The SA node depolarizes. The electrical activity goes to the AV node through the internodal pathways, and then there is depolarization of the atria, followed by depolarization of the ventricles or contraction of the ventricle and spread of the impulse throughout the heart. So when we look at an ECG paper, basically it's a long roll of paper having small squares. So one square is 1 millimeter wide and 1 millimeter high. On an ECG paper, there are thick lines. Between two thick lines, there are 5 small squares. Okay, so the speed is about 25 mm per second. So looking at your ECG box, this is the thick line, and in between there are 5 small squares. The time for one box is 0.2 seconds. So for each small box, it is about 0.04 seconds. The height is about 0.5 millivolts and it understands the electrical activity. So when we look at a normal ECG, these are the waveforms. There is the the PR interval, then there are the QRS complex, the ST segment, and then the T wave. So basically, looking at each part of the ECG, the P wave shows atrial depolarization, the QRS complex shows ventricular depolarization, and the T wave shows your ST segment, and your T wave shows your ventricular repolarization. Okay, so when we're looking at an ECG, we are going to look at the different types of leads that are there. So there are 12 leads. So basically, leads doesn't mean electrodes. We'll understand what it is. So there are 3 standard limb leads. Okay, those are bipolar. So one is placed on your right arm, on your left arm, on your left leg, and on your right leg. Okay, so the one on your right leg is usually dummy sort of electrode. It doesn't conduct any electrical activity. Okay, so looking at your standard limb leads, there is going to be a right arm lead, your left arm lead, then this is going to form your first lead. Okay, your right arm and your left leg are going to form your second lead, and your left arm and your left leg are going to form your third lead. Okay, so these are your standard limb leads, and the potential difference between these two leads is what causes the electrical activity, and that is why they are called bipolar, because there's a negative and a positive potential. Okay, so this is your augmented limb leads, also your AVR, AVL, or AVF. So AVR attaches to the right arm, AVL attaches to the left arm, and your AVF attaches to the left foot or leg. Looking at the chest leads, there are 6 electrodes which are attached to the chest. So basically we have V1, which is placed on the 4th intercostal space, right side. V2 placed on the on the left intercostal space in the near the sternal edge. V5, which is placed in the mid-clavicular line. And then the V4 is placed in between V3 and V4. And then lastly, we have your V6, which is placed in the mid-axillary line. So this is the arrangement of your ECG on your the paper that we saw, the small boxes and big boxes. So first we have the first lead, second lead, third lead. Then we have AVR, AVL, and AVF. Followed by here we have the chest leads V1, V2, V3. V4, V5, and V6. At the bottom, we usually have a rhythm strip, which is usually your second lead fully represented on the ECG paper. Okay, so putting it into a tabular form, your specific areas of your leads are going to show specific areas of the heart. So to understand this, we have this diagram over here, V1, V2, which are going to show your septal parts. V3, V4, which are going to show your anterior parts. Okay, then your 2, 3, and AVF, which are going to show your inferior parts. Okay, 2, 3, AVF over here. And followed by your 1, AVL, V5 and V6, which are going to show your high lateral and low lateral leads. Okay, so this is how your leads are represented in your ECG. So AVR usually has no function because it is placed at the back. Your second lead is important because it is passing completely through the heart. That is why your second lead activity is very important. So this is a table to understand which arteries supplying which area of the heart. And from that we can understand, from an ECG we can understand very roughly which artery is occluded. Okay, so this is a table. So how are we actually reading an ECG? So we have to follow a basic sequence. We have to understand the rate and rhythm, the conduction intervals, the cardiac axis, and then we are going to describe the QRS complex and the ST segment and T waves. Okay. So first we are going to look at the rate and rhythm. So there are two rules for it, rule of 300 and your 6-second method. So for the rule of 300, we are going to take the number of big boxes between your neighboring QRS complex and we're going to divide this 300 by this number. Okay. Usually when there are regular rhythms, regular meaning every R wave is equal. So for example, this one, this R wave is having 4 boxes roughly. So it is a regular rhythm. Okay. So here we are going to use the rule of 300 where we are going to divide 300 by the number of big boxes. So here we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 big boxes. So your heart rate is going to be 300 divided by 4, which is 75 beats per minute. Okay. Second, we have the 6-second method. So looking at a 6-second strip, we are going to count the number of hours and then we are going to multiply it by 10. Okay. So for example, this is your 6 seconds. So in 6 seconds, this is the amount of hour that we saw. So there were 7 hour waves. So we're going to multiply it by 10 and we're going to get the heart rate as 70. So this is usually done in irregular rhythms where the R is not, that the number of boxes is not equal between the R's. So this is again another example of your 6-second strip. So between 6 seconds, how many ever R's are there, you're going to count those and then you're going to multiply it by 10. So there were 11, so heart rate is 110. So describing the waves while you're looking at an ECG, okay, your last part of the ECG, rate rhythm is done. The second part is going to be describing your waves. So first we are going to look at the P waves. Is there a P wave equally present? Yes, then it is normal. The duration of the PR interval, okay, so there is a PR interval duration of 0.1 to 0.20 seconds. And if it is prolonged, then there is some abnormality. So here we are going to see the duration in each part. Is it equal? The number of boxes you have to count. Is it equal? Then it's normal. Then we are going to look at the QRS complex. Is the QRS complex becoming bigger or is it normal in everything? Then it is normal. For every P wave, is there a QRS complex? Yes, then it is normal. Lastly, we are going to look at the T wave. Is the T wave a normal round shape or is it inverted? Is it flat or what? That you're going to see. Lastly, you're going to evaluate other components. Are there ectopic beats? Are there some sudden elevation, depression, or other kind of abnormalities? That also we are going to see. You're also going to see if there is some issue with your ST segment. You're going to see if there is presence of a U wave. Okay, that is an extra wave after your T wave. So that is sometimes seen or sometimes mostly it's not seen. It is seen in abnormal conditions. Okay, lastly, we are going to determine the cardiac axis or axis deviation. So basically, it is a measurement of the direction of the size of the heart's electrical activity on an ECG. Okay, so it is used to understand the heart rhythm problems and conduction issues. So left axis matlab minus 30 degrees to minus 90 degrees, meaning it is left axis deviation that you see here. This is your normal axis from minus 30 to plus 90. If it is going above that, if it's going till minus 90, then it is left axis. And if it is going positively on the positive side, then it is a right axis deviation. How to look at it on an ECG? So this is your ECG, first, second, third, and AVF. Okay, these are the three waves that you have to see. Now, if both of this R wave are leaving each other, that is, they're going in the opposite direction, that means it is a left axis deviation. So L for left, L for leaving, meaning left axis deviation. Same way, if both of the R waves are reaching each other, that they are coming towards each other, then it is a right axis deviation. So right axis reaching each other. So you have to confirm with lead 3 and AVF to see if it is actually a right axis deviation. So this is a simple method to understand deviation. There are some specific concepts that are very important for everyone to know, especially myocardial infarction and myocardial ischemia. So what happens in myocardial infarction is so this is where you have to look at the ST segment. Okay. So this is your ST segment. Look at these waves. Your ST segment is supposed to be straight, but in these cases, your ST segment is elevated. Okay. So ST segment elevation is usually a sign of myocardial infarction. That is, in simpler terms, a heart attack. Okay. So blood is not reaching your myocardium, and that is why there is an infarction. So you can confirm it with these leads. So there's a lot of ST segment elevation over here. You can look at the other contiguous leads. So your second lead, your third lead, your AVF, all of them show some kind of ST segment elevation. Okay. So more than 1 mm of ST segment elevation in two contiguous leads, meaning it is myocardial infarction. We also have myocardial ischemia. After some time or after the infarction has evolved, there is ischemia, or there is loss of, because there was loss of blood to this tissue, there is going to be death of the tissue. So there is going to be T wave inversion. So your T wave is supposed to be upwards and round. Here you're going to look at it as an inversion. If you can see over here, this is an inversion of the T wave. Okay. So it is symmetric and it is inverted. That is myocardial ischemia. So let's take an example of an ECG finally to understand. This is an ECG of a 28-year-old woman who visited our OPD for a yearly health checkup. The following is her ECG. Okay, so how are you going to interpret it? Okay, so first, what are we going to see? We are going to see the sinus, if it is a sinus rhythm, or we are going to look at the rate and rhythm. So here we are seeing the RR intervals. It's almost equal. There are 3.5 boxes, or 3 boxes almost in between all the R intervals. So it is a regular rhythm. So it is a sinus rhythm. Okay, sinus means normal regular rhythm. Next, we are going to look at if there is your PR interval is normal. So we are going to look at the P wave. Is there a P wave every time? Yes, there is. Is there a QRS complex? Yes, there are QRS complexes. Is there a T wave? Yes, there is a T wave. So it is a normal waveform, and also the PR interval is normal. Okay, it's equal. We are going to look at the axis. Is the R wave pointing upwards towards each other, away from each other? No, it's normal. It's pointing upwards in all the leads. So it is a normal R wave. So it is normal axis. Then we're looking at the ST segment in all the leads. Look at the ST segment. Is it elevated, or is it isoelectric, or is it depressed? It is almost straight in almost all the leads here. So it is isoelectric. So that shows us that this is a normal ECG. Anything away from this or apart from this is going to be considered abnormal. Learning the abnormalities of ECG is a little more complex to understand. So that is a bit beyond the scope of this seminar or this lecture. So to understand your ECG is easy. There's a description, and then there is the interpretation. You have to look at the patient to interpret an ECG. Look at all the leads and describe the ECG in the same order. The diagnosis also has to be made in consideration with the patient. So you can refer to ECG Made Easy by John Hampton and other references as well. Thank you. I would like to thank Dr. Parag Sancheti sir, Mrs. Manisha Sangvi ma'am, Dr. Radha Vattad ma'am, and Physio TV team for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.